Oh my gosh. I know I said I was gonna drop any future, like, updates about the Danny's World situation, but then Qwel, of course, has to come up with another response. Another one. Yeah, this is her second response in a span of 2 months now. Like, I'm just gonna read it because I got nothing else. And it's shorter. Let's see if this gets any better. Because the last statement was her complaining about rocks, which understandable because, well, people were getting mad at Qwel for not addressing the like Joji stuff, but like to be fair, the drama first started because of Duck Adams, which was about the rock situation. This was before, you know, before Joji came out with his statement with witnesses and victims. So yeah, Cora was obviously responding to the first situation that happened, which is just drama, but she didn't respond to the situation yet. The rocks and the Duck Adams part is drama. The one with the Joji part, however, is okay. That's a situation, and Cora was responding to the drama, not the situation. Drama is something that's pointless and stupid, while the situation is something that should be taken seriously. Well, I'm gonna read this. Um. Oh my gosh. Hi everyone. I mean, she doesn't say hello. He's okay. So Qwel doesn't say, "Hey, it's Qwel." She just says, "Hi everyone." So this one might be more serious, hopefully. As promised, this is a follow up to my statement from July. It's currently August, so wait, she responded early in August and July. Anyway, while I still stand by what I said then, I know there is much more that needs to be said, and I hope this is a meaningful next step. I hope so too. Before I start, I'm not going to name specific names. Good idea. It's best to keep people anonymous because I don't want to encourage any further harassment of anyone. Yeah, that's the reason why the Discord is down, because people wouldn't stop harassing and they wouldn't be respectful. I know this might make what I've said about to say sound vague. Your last statement was really vague, but I don't want to risk anyone on any side of the situation getting targeted or hurt anymore. Yeah, honestly, that is actually reasonable because people have accused Joji. If you watched my last video, which is the video that was supposed to be the end, but then of course, Qual made a response, which I did not expect her to make another response. But so yeah, Joji got harassed because people said he was siding with Rox and Duck Adams, which no, he's not. Joji is a situation. Rox and Duck Adams is drama, so they're not the same. So yeah, Joji got unfairly harassed just because of bad timing of releasing the document. First and most importantly, many people deserve apologies from me. I mean, you did. You first of all, you already did apologize 3 times, but people said you were victimizing yourself despite you defending yourself. Which, honestly, that's kind of the people's fault for being unfair. But yeah, I like to formally do so in this statement. I know that a blanket apology is not enough. I want to directly help those who have been victimized by the person who abused me and others. You see, in my last video, I said how Qwel was 15 at the time and Rox was like 17, and like how Qwel was being like manipulated for like 6 years of her entire life before she finally fired Rox, and also how Rox could have possibly groomed her. So yeah, But anyway, I want to. Oh, I already read that. And apologize for any direct or indirect actions I've done that may have harmed them. When you say indirect actions, I guess you mean like you were trying to like you weren't trying to like you were trying to defend him, but you weren't like trying to excuse his actions. Like that's what I mean by indirect. Like she didn't say, "Oh, he's a good person. He wouldn't do that." Like Quell was not being direct with that. She was being indirect. But yeah, everyone who has impacted by what happened in the past and what's happening right now deserves the opportunity to heal, and I want to do what I can to help. Please know that I'm sorry. As a part of taking responsibility, I would be stepping down from my position as the lead on Danny's World until further notice. Right now, my focus needs to be on personal growth and accountability and healing. Wait, is Quell stepping down from her position? Does that mean she's not the owner anymore? If that's the case, who's gonna be the owner? Because there is no co-owner. So like, What? Is someone else gonna be owner? Like, please don't tell me Qwel is transferring the ownership because just look at Forsaken. That did not go well. Heck, in one of the Discord servers I'm in, some guy said, "Would you rather slime your best friend or delete Forsaken?" Pretty much everyone in that server said delete Forsaken. A lot of false information about who I am and what I've done in the past has spread. Yeah, that's true. A lot of people have called Qwel a groomer, which is not true. One of the victims, I think it was Sam. Yeah, in my last video, Sam admitted that Qwel was not a groomer, so that's already false information right there. Plus, I also recalled that on YouTube about 2 days ago, maybe 3, that one of the victims came out with false information, and that's why some people were happy they stayed neutral because they can't trust them anymore. That's what I mean. Some of these victims may not be victims; they're just on a hate train lying about BS. Except and also some of these victims are just witnesses, which as a witness you're probably even more likely to lie than if you were a just a victim, because as a witness, well, people like because when you're the victim, you're obviously like against the owner. But when you are a witness, it's your statement and testimony either sides with the victims or sides with the owner, which it could go both ways, and either one of them could manipulate you to saying the wrong thing instead of the right thing. That's what I mean. You're even more likely to lie as the witness compared to the victim, especially in court. But anyway, you shouldn't lie in court. Over the past few months, it's only been 2 months now that I think about it. I think it started in like late June or early July, so it's only been like 2 months. Some is completely made up or is only a part of the story to make me look like a monster. Honestly, I don't think, the whole underpaying employees thing I think was the biggest BS because, well, Qwel, in one of the documents in the last video, one of the tester admitted that he was getting paid, so the whole underpaying thing is BS, and the whole overworking employees thing, I don't know where that information came from. So again, I believe that's a lie. And also, people claim there was a leak of the circus trio that still hasn't been shown anywhere yet. So yeah, people are lying. Like honestly, I feel bad for Joji because if I feel bad for people who were working with Danny's World if they were treated badly. But like Qwel was just ignoring. That's all. Like specifically that autistic person, I feel bad for. Again, watch the previous video. The VR chat thing if you haven't watched it. I will admit that I've made mistakes and poor choices in the past, but I've always tried to learn and grow. Yeah, she is. That's the reason why she fired Rocks, obviously. I take responsibility for how I conducted myself as a leader and a friend. Yeah, she made a lot of friends, but then, yeah, looking back, there were things I should have done differently and committed to doing better in the future. While I step away, members of the studio will continue sharing the work they are doing. I hope they still update the game though, because like again, the employees kind of need that. I hope you will give them the kindness they deserve because they care so much about Danny's World and the community. The team behind Danny's World is incredibly talented, and this project has always been about building something bigger than one person. Before I end this, I want to address the letters that the BlushCrunch legal team sent out a few weeks ago. Please know that I did not tell the legal team to send individual cease and desist letters. Oh my gosh. Is this gonna be like the Manny situation again? The Manny show situation? Okay, because if you recall a few years back, you know the Manny show, right? The guy that's on YouTube and on TikTok. Apparently on YouTube, he was copyright striking people because well, guess what? It turns out Manny, the owner of the Manny show, he hired an agent, I think, to work his channel, and he was sending copyright strikes, not copyright claims, copyright strikes. When you get copyright claimed, you just don't get money. When you get copyright striked, however, you get a strike, and if you have 3 strikes, your account gets deleted, terminated. Yeah, so the Manny then had to make an apology video and fire the agent for doing that. Like, this is what I was saying. What if Qwel didn't send the cease and desist? What if it was someone else that gone rogue? That's what I'm saying. Like, people are blaming Qwel just because she's the bigger fish, even though she is just a human being. That's what I mean. This is why I've always sided with Qwel and why I still will side with Qwel. But yeah, our legal team acted in the interest of the company to protect the business. Me and Blessed Country employees because and Blessed Country employees because oh wait. Oh, hold on. This confused me cuz she said me but then she put another comma there, whatever, because that the narrative was being spread would lead to harassment and hate. They were ultimately proven right because the existence of the cease and desist letters was shared with the public, and the narrative then became that I was personally trying to silence people. If the cease and desist was shared with the public, this means Joji could have indeed showed the cease and desist, because if it was a private cease and desist, you can't show it. But Qwel admitted it was public, which means Joji could have very well shown it. This is what I mean. Joji's not making good decisions either. He says he doesn't want to show it because he feels uncomfortable. You don't say that when you don't show a cease and desist. What you should say instead is you can't for legal reasons. Not you won't because you're uncomfortable. That's what I mean. Qwel may have been in the wrong, but she's not fully in the wrong. And Joji's also pretty much in the wrong too. Again, read the last video about my, situation. Which I would never do. This caused things to get worse and for others to be harassed even more violently. Okay, this one, at least this addresses the situation and not the drama that was spreading with Doc Adams. I asked the legal team not to pursue any further legal actions against anyone unless they absolutely have to based on persistent harassment and attacks. I do want to be transparent and share that the legal team has strongly considered further action against one former employee who has aggressively and repeatedly incited harassment and attacks on me. If that's referring to Joji, I knew he was guilty. I knew if she's referring to Joji, I knew he was guilty. But I don't know for sure because again, Qwel is saying not to harass people and is purposefully keeping their name silent to prevent harassment, which means Qwel is again learning from mistakes, clearly trying to do what's great and clearly trying to be a good person with good morals, or at least feels guilty or remorse of the situation. And no one believed me. People called me insensitive, dismissal, slow. Those people who are defending the victims right now, without just automatically assuming, without ever even opening their eyes, I hope they feel bad now that I was right the whole time. Well, I don't know for sure if I'm right, but this is really showing that I'm right. Inside our staff and others who are just doing their jobs. This individual pursued a close personal relationship with me when I was 15, and he was in 20s in his actions. His 20s. Yeah, that's definitely referring to Joji. I think Joji said he was like 27, and Qwel is currently like 23. So if he was in his 20s, he's probably definitely referring to Joji. But again, don't harass him. Please don't. Just don't harass people. And his actions have caused me, my family, Blessed Crunch employees, and the Danielswood community a tremendous amount of pain and suffering. The legal team would ultimately make the decision whether or not to pursue. Yeah, if I recall correctly, I saw the screenshots in that one video that I did. Okay, funny story. The video that I linked on my last video about the Blessed Crunch situation, originally I forgot to link the videos, so I had to edit it in the... I had to edit the links into the description because I forgot. But yeah, there is screenshots there, which they're just screenshots, by the way. It's not full definitive proof. And well, the screenshots did reveal that Joji was being pretty aggressive and kind of selfish, even though his friend had cancer. Qwel didn't say anything wrong. She just wasn't there, just ignoring and blocking people. That's all she was doing. I understand that... wait, hold on. Did I already read that? Yeah, I already read that. I understand that this might feel like it took too long to make this post, and I can also understand that this statement still might not feel like it's good enough for you. The last statement I thought was a decent apology, but people said it was a terrible apology. They act like it was the worst thing ever, which no, it wasn't. This is a decent apology if they open their eyes. It definitely could have been better, but it definitely could have been worse too. I don't know what that is. And I think this apology is way better because people were saying they didn't address the Joji situation, not knowing that that original statement was against Rocks and Duck Adams, not against Joji. This one is against Joji, so this one actually makes more sense now. People need to be more aware about this instead of just assuming things. It's been difficult and scary to fully comprehend the way that I've made others feel. I've also been unable to properly come to terms with how I was. Yeah, see, I told you this. I told you this. I said how Qwel could have been groomed. She just admitted she was and manipulated in the past. Yeah, like, remember, didn't Joji say that just because you're an adult doesn't mean you can't be groomed? Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you look up the definition, it says a young adult could be groomed too. Because, because when you groom someone, it's not exclusive to minors. It could also apply to adults, specifically when using manipulation. And I knew Qwel could have been groomed, and no one believed me, especially when I've seen so many people that say that I was willingly protected one of my abuses and that I deserved to be harmed. Oh my gosh, she wasn't willingly protecting the Rocks. She was trying to give him a second chance, trying to like fix him, which is understandable. Heck, the entire Tower Heroes community hoped he changed, but he just never did. Like Qwel really gave him a second chance, and it not even though everyone doesn't deserve a second chance. I mean, like, even though she didn't deserve a second chance, I still think everyone should get one, which Rocks ruined that. And like people just didn't care. For 2 months, I've been attacked, and I've seen people attack not just members on the studio and the Dance World community, but children who some have felt the need, harassed, and threatened for just enjoying the game that they like. Yeah, the people who kept telling people to boycott Dance World, that is disrespectful as hell. I'm sorry, that is disrespectful. You can't force people to boycott the game and to stop playing the game. Let them enjoy the comfort game. Let them do what they want. You do not tell them how to live their life. You don't. I can't let this continue and do nothing about it. I hope that one day I can return to Dance World. But I know that the only way that I can return is if I take accountability, get the support I need, and grow as a person. Qwel. This one is shorter than the last one. But dude, I feel even more bad for Qwel than ever. This apology feels way better than the last one. The last one, I will admit, calling it decent was kind of eh. It was pretty meh, pretty bad. But it was better than what people were saying it was. It wasn't terrible, but I will admit it was kind of bad. This apology is a lot better and really is more logical, more reasonable, and it's a better explanation. Especially when we recently found out that one of the victims had false information. Unless another response happens from Qwel, the next video this time will be my final either the apology video, which most likely will be the video of me being right the whole time, because again Qwel is seemingly innocent with this. But yeah, I wanted to drop this originally, but then I checked the Blush Crunch Discord, and then I saw in announcements that Qwel made a second response, which I didn't know she was gonna make another one. Also, I noticed that the Blush Crunch members count is decreasing. Dude, I remember when they passed 1 million members. I even took a screenshot of that happening, and now it's going below 1 million members. This proves that I was dedicated, because not only was I there before the 1 million members, but I'm also still there even after it goes below 1 million members again. If Qwel doesn't come back, I understand, because she needs the help. She has trauma, but she has been groomed and manipulated, which means she probably has PTSD. Okay, once again, do not harass people. If you want to play Dance World, you can play it if you want. Also, I just checked. Danius was having a update on Friday, and apparently the update doesn't give context, But no joke, I checked how many people were interested. 370,000 people were interested. How are more people interested in a update that has no context compared to an update that we knew to expect from, like, quality of life and also the tish of the week? People got mad at me for supporting Qwel because I paid 40 Robux. 40 Robux for probably the best Tisha skin in the game that everyone in the mama pretty much makes in the redesign, which makes sense. I'm gonna end this off now. Like, I really hope the end of the situation is near. Everything Qwel said this time actually made more sense, and this apology feels better than the last. I feel bad for Qwel more than ever, and if there's any victims out there that are really victims, please don't go after Qwel. She did nothing wrong. Okay, she did some wrong, but she did nothing illegal. That's what I meant. We should be going after Rocks if anything, but at the same time, do not harass people. Just don't, please. Don't harass Rocks, don't harass Qwel, don't harass Joji, don't harass anyone. Don't harass people who call names, don't harass anyone who plays the game. Just please, let's all be civil about this and move on with life. Hopefully this ends soon. Okay, time to end it now. Bye.